Good evening, everybody, and it is that time once again. It is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this is Treasure Tales. My name is Jeff. I'm your host, and I'm glad that you are with us tonight. It's been a pretty eventful week, actually. Lots of good stuff happening. Got a lot of good, cute, really cool stuff in the mail. I'll just kind of show you. And, to all those that sent them in, I'm really bad about sending out stickers, but I will get there, trust me. So we got this one. That's a cool one. That's a really cool one. Got that sticker in. I like that. And then Janine Ballard Patterson, JBP hobbyist. She made these. She made some for me and for Phil. It is like a little charm you wear around your neck. Now, I myself, when I go prancing, I might put one on for an earring. Wear them as an earring. So that's. I mean, she does great work. She's very, very artistic. That girl takes stuff that she finds and turns it into art. So it's really, really cool. And then I got some more stickers today from the Mermaid Treasure Hunter. Okay, what did I do with them? I got so much stuff piled up here. It's ridiculous. I've got them here somewhere. Let me find them. Here we go. From Mermaid Treasure Hunter. That's Cricket, and you'll get to see her soon. She's going to be on Treasure Talk, and she's got an appearance coming up on Treasure Tales as well. Now, something else that Cricket sent, and this is something that she does, and her website is mermaidtreasurehunter.com. She makes earrings. And I hope you can see them. She sent 4 or 5 different pair in here. Really nice. Nice work, I think. Hopefully you can see them. There, like I said, she sent about 5 different ones. They're really nice. So, you can go over to her website, mermaidtreasurehunter.com. and check them out and see what she's got. There's been a bunch of firsts this week. Some really good friends of mine, Pacific Northwest Dirt Fishing. They had a really cool permission at this old house. I guess it was a Sears kit house. A lot of you folks are way, way too young to remember that. But Sears, you used to be able to buy a house kit through Sears catalog, and they got to hunt that. And Ronnie, he had a bucket lister. His Garrett Apex came through. He calls it Darla. It came through. He rocked it out because he is one of the premier treasure hunters in this world. Ronnie Calhoun and his wife Tiffany, she's another one. They're premier treasure hunters. He rocked out a V-nickel, which was on his bucket list, and they've got more permission in that area, so who knows what they're going to find. It's going to be great. So let's just say hello to some people here, because we got a really good show tonight. I know you're anxious to start hearing about it, so we'll get there in just a second. So the History Digger is in the house. Glad to see you tonight. And my sister from another mister, the Diggin' Canuck, is in the house. And you'll get to see her next week, because she's going to be a co-host for next week, when we're going to have the Magic of the Merlin. Casey Dittman from Excalibur Shovels is going to be our guest next week, and we're going to talk about Excalibur Shovels and the Merlin and the Hand Diggers and all the different things that the Excalibur Shovel does, because it is absolutely the finest shovel hand diggers on the planet and in stock at Myers Metal Detectors. Key phrase, in stock at Myers Metal Detectors. Adele Lampersky Rutherford. How is that little guy, Grammy? We're glad that you're with us tonight, Adele, and P&W Dirt Fishing. How are you? Janine Ballard Patterson. Hello. Nick Haas. How you doing? And let's see, the Mumbles Man. Of course, you're going to get to see him here directly. And Chuck Martin, how are you, Chuck? I'm glad you joined us tonight. Mark Fiorella, I don't know if you're still down in Venice or you're back up into the frozen tundra, Mark, but we're glad you're with us tonight. Moose Ninny, nice to see you tonight. And Pink Power Alley Treasure Hunter, another just an awesome, awesome individual. Uh, I'm blessed with friends, let me tell you. And my brother from another mother, Mr. Phil Myers, the man that stocks everything in stock, Myers Metal Detectors. Lisa P. Hey, Lisa P. How are you? Glad to see you tonight. Drum Detect. Hey, how you doing? Preserving the Past. Glad you stopped in tonight. Let's see. A Facebook user, Robert Ridgway. Glad that you're with us tonight, Robert. It's good to see you. Let's see who else is here. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, this thing. Another Facebook user. Mermaid Treasure Hunter Cricket. Yes, indeed, that is you, Cricket. And them some good looking earrings and good looking stickers. Preserving the Past. I think we said hello. Toby Bobo, how are you? Glad you're here. And let's see. Barry O'Sullivan, how are you? Glad that you are with us tonight. Looter 8, Treasure Hunter. How you doing? I hope you're staying warm up there in Canada. And hopefully it'll thaw out some so you can get out there and dig. Stories from the Signal. Glad that you're with us tonight. Hope you got the emails we've been sending you. So let us know. And Finders Keepers. Glad that you're with us tonight. Metal Detecting Brooklyn, how are you, my friend? Dirt Diggers UK, glad to see everybody from the UK coming in. And I was glad about the news about the COVID testing in the UK. They got it going on now. After February 11th, it's going to be good. They're smart. Oh, let's see. I think we might have all those that are in the chat. I know Nick Haas, good to see you. I think we might detect, dig, and smile. Nice to see you tonight. Very good, very good. We might be getting kind of Jerry Talley. How are you? Nice that you stopped by tonight. Randy Goodnow. Hey, Randy. I think Andrew Taylor. Hey, Andrew. How you like that shovel? That's a good one, isn't it? Preserving the Past. I think we said hello. I think we might be getting caught up. Somebody from Facebook says howdy, howdy. And Greg Jeffrey, howdy from Oz. Well, we're glad that you were with us. So let's get on with this. Let me introduce our co-host tonight because we are going to be talking XP Deus 2. That is a much, much anticipated machine. I can't hardly wait to get my hands on mine. And our guest tonight is Grant Hansen. And if you all will remember, a while back, XP had a USA-based team, XP Team USA. Well, they ended up disbanding, but thank goodness, Grant and a few of the others stayed with XP, and they were testers for the new Deus 2. So Grant has had his hands on it. So we're going to get firsthand information tonight. Grant is a very, very accomplished detectorist. He has a great YouTube channel. He's very articulate, and he will explain things very well. And I think he'll answer your questions very well. So we're very, very pleased that Grant is with us tonight. So why don't we go ahead and let's bring on my two other brothers from other mothers. We will bring on, this is the Mumbles Man, Tim Naylor. And then we got my other brother from another mother, the the inspiration for the Blue Spades Society, Mr. John David. Hello, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey, y'all.
So everything good with y'all?
Can't complain.
It doesn't do any good, does it?
Not
Well, we
at
got
all.
Ed Olson stopped by tonight too. Ed, glad that you're with us tonight. So, were you guys ready to talk Deus 2?
I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Okay,
ready to
good.
get Deus 2.
That is, yeah, I'm ready for it. That's a mighty fine looking shirt you got on there, John.
Yeah, I know where I got it too. Right from the store. The Blue Spade Society store.
Yeah, the Treasure Talk store. That's where it's all at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Treasure Talk, Treasure Tales. Hey, Rachel from Jersey Ray Diggs. Glad that you are with us tonight. Tom Becker. Hey, Tom. Good to see you tonight. I hope you're not frozen up there. So I say let's just get right into it, guys. What do you think? We got to have a lot of questions, and we'll go as long as we need to go tonight to get the questions answered and have a good conversation about the Deus too. So are we ready?
Ready to jump in with both feet.
Yeah.
All righty. So everybody, let's welcome our guest. A good friend of mine. Like I said, he's a very, very accomplished detectorist. He was a member of XP Team USA. He's still with XP. He's as knowledgeable as you get. So let's bring on Grant Hansen.
Hey, everyone.
Grant, how are you tonight?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And I tell you what, you're doing us a favor. You know, we're here to find out about the Deus too. I mean, I think it's fair to say that this is possibly the most anticipated detector release in the last, I don't know, 10 years, you think? I would kind of think so with, some of the stuff that's been said about it and the cutting edge technology that they're using. Is that a pretty accurate statement?
I think so. There's a lot of hype about it. And, it kind of delivers on the features that everyone was really asking for, which is they wanted something submersible. They wanted something good on the beach, multi-frequency. It's still lightweight and compact. You can still fit it in most backpacks. And it's got so many features that I think, you can't go wrong. It's a really solid machine.
Yeah. And, and people say, there's a lot of hype about it. But to me, the word hype means that possibly it might be able to deliver on all the expectations from everything that I've read, and I've gone over the manual. So anybody out there that's waiting on your Deus 2, go to XP Metal Detectors and you can download the Deus 2 manual and you can start studying on it. And that's what I was doing today, and I had been for a while. I know, Tim, you've been doing that as well, haven't you?
Absolutely. Got to get a jump on it.
And I tell you what, and I'm a Deus user, as is Tim is a Deus user. And some of the stuff that, is in this Deus 2, it just, the top of your head come right off. I just can't hardly wait to get it. And that's what we're going to talk to you tonight about, Grant, is if it lives up to what it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And we just had a couple other people stop in, Clark's Cove Detecting. Glad to see you tonight. And so let's just go on. And I think John and Tim have some questions. So which one of you guys wants to go first with some questions?
Let's do rock, paper, scissors, John.
No.
All right, let's start with a little.
Well, I can go ahead.
Let's start with a little basic question. What's your most unusual find?
Most unusual find. Oh, wow. That's a really good one. One of the surprises I've had recently is because I never found one and I didn't really know they existed was I found a silver garter clip and I thought it was just a bent over bottle cap until I cleaned it off and it actually had engraving on it. It's a Jenny C. So now I'm on the hunt to find out who Jenny C was, because it was found in a pretty historical area. It's across the street from what is called Cooper's Pond, so it's got the C name there. So I'm working with a historian to see if we can find out who Jenny was. But unusual in that it could have easily gone in the junk pouch unless I wasn't careful about looking at it. And again, I didn't know that they made these things silver and engraved. It must have been somebody who was pretty well to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
got
I
one?
have one.
Sure.
Yeah. What was your first detector, since now you worked your way up to the Deus 2? What was your beginning detector?
Got it. So I don't think my first counted, because I only used it once when I was about 8 years old, which was like a Radio Shack one on the beach with my dad. But when I started getting into the hobby, I used a Garrett Ace 350. And it found me some really nice things. It was a nice starter machine.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a 350 one time, and it does work for what it does.
Right. Yeah.
Performs.
Yeah. And it's simple to operate. My nephew, who's 10, he's got it now because he's got the bug. So I'm going to start bringing him around. He can use one of my Deuses, but I'm not going to leave one with him because I'll destroy it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm making dig holes. Teaching
Right.
them how to dig holes.
Start from the beginning.
Right.
That's right.
All right. Other than fast multi-frequency and waterproofing, in your opinion, what's the most significant improvement on the DS2?
That's a good one. Other than the fast multi-frequency and the waterproofing, I like, and this is because it's got the multi-frequency, it's got the ground stabilizer in it. So you can really get a better read on the ground and try to get the machine to eliminate most of the ground so that you're getting the better targets. The other one I'll add into it is how they're handling the notch features, especially on programs like Fast, where they're notching out, I think it's 21 to 23, which eliminates the moisture in the ground on deep targets, and it's going to prevent iron falsing. So we've all been fooled by iron falsing and digging what we're hoping is deep silver, and it's a bent, rusted nail.
Yeah.
If that proves to work out the way it's supposed to, that's going to save us a lot of digging.
I've got a question, Grant, and I think this is probably the only ones that are available or is very soon to be available. Something that I personally am very excited about are the bone conducting headphones. Basically, because my hearing, I have some hearing loss, and even with my headphones now and the volume up high, and Tim will attest to this, when we're hunting on the beach, he can hear some signals that are really, really faint and of a certain tone that I can't pick up. And with the bone conducting phones, that's going to help eliminate that problem, I think.
Yeah, and you don't have to use them when diving. You can just use them. I mean, they do plug in and they have a wire, but I'm excited to try those. I haven't gotten a pair, but I've heard really good things about them. I've also heard you got to be careful because they can blow your ears off. So if you are though need that extra help with hearing, I think they're going to be great. And I think an amazing, innovative idea. I don't know that any other detector company is using bone conductors. And from what I understand, when you dive, the pressure you might not hear as well. And this is going to change the game on that.
Yeah, especially if you're diving, the earphones get filled up with water and that and the other thing. Plus the fact, if you're out, let's say you're out in the woods and you're using your bone conducting phones, you can hear kind of what's going around. And especially, for some of the ladies, let's say, or anybody, if you're hunting in a park and maybe it's not the greatest area or whatever, people do like to sneak up on you.
Yeah.
So that way you can at least hear what's going on. So I just think it's just a crackerjack idea, and I can't hardly wait to get it.
I agree.
It is great. Yeah. And then the waterproofing to be able to hunt in the water. Let's talk about that a little bit. And you had a couple questions about that, didn't you, Tim?
When you're detecting in the water, the DS2 comes with two different plugs for your headphones. What What's the difference?
So the one plug is going to make sure that you're submersible and safe, right? So that it's not going to damage the remote when it's going in. And the other, I think, is just regular, wired headphones. It doesn't have that level. And for the waterproofing kit, I mean, this is it. It's not that big or complex. You just clip a piece to your coil and wrap it up, and then connect it to the headphone, and then to the remote rather, and then you can connect your headphones into the remote. So it's not all these loose things, and it's really compact, and it doesn't really add much weight to the machine either.
And speaking of the weight, we had a question from Chuck Martin, wanted to know what the overall weight of the Deus 2 is.
To be honest with you, I don't know. Like, I couldn't tell you it's 2 pounds, 5 ounces, which might be somewhere.
It's lighter than that.
Yeah. I will say it's comparable to the Deus 1, though. I don't notice any difference in the Deus 2 than the Deus 1.
And the Deus 1, like I've said before, I think Tim will attest to that. John has swung my Deus a little bit. When you go from another detector, let's say you're using an AT Pro, for instance, and you go to the Deus, you've got to concentrate on slowing your swing down because it's so light, you're going to be whipping it around like a licorice whip. And once you get used to it, it is just, it's amazing.
Yeah.
When Tim and I went to England this last year, we both took nothing but the Deus. And that's all we used. And I mean, we were hunting all full days, weren't we, Tim?
Yeah, around 12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, arms never got tired. Other parts dragging a little bit, but the arm never got tired.
Yeah. Well, I used to swing a CTX, which is a fantastic machine. But I'll tell you, if you're on a quiet farm field or a quiet beach and you go 20 minutes without making a dig, you start to feel that after a while. It's just
kind of like a boat anchor.
Right. But yeah, the Deus, plus traveling, like you said, to England. I remember the first time I went to England, I took my CTX and I barely fit it in my suitcase. Like, it was in there diagonally, just trying to fit. The Deus I put in my carry-on. I mean, it was just, and I brought 2 of them. So it's just, it's night and day.
Well, that's what I did. I had both Deus. I had a bunch of stuff in my Deus backpack. 2 full detectors plus 3 coils.
Yeah. I'm paranoid. I need a backup for everything, just in case. You never know.
Yeah, I do too. People say, "Oh, you don't need that. You don't need that." But as it turns out, Tim dropped his, and the part where you put your remote on, that broke.
Okay.
And luckily for I had an extra stem, so
everything worked out.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I have one for you, Grant.
I'm sorry.
I have one for you.
Okay.
I had to think about this. What do you think on how long it'll take to learn the new Deus 2 versus the 1, or if you've never had a Deus to begin with?
I'm going to say it depends. And I say it this way, because if you went from a Deus 1 to a Deus 2, the learning curve just to get started in your basic stuff is not that difficult. It's a very similar interface. The remote is very similar. It's when you start getting into the advanced features and the menus and how things are organized, it's just time on the machine that's going to get you there. But again, the transition is going to be pretty easy. If you are new to the Deus completely, I'll say it's going to be pretty easy if you just stick with the stock programs and trust that they're set up right, because they sound good. You're going to have good tones. It's going to pick up the targets. And then you're going to have to learn, like, what does it mean to change reactivity, iron volume, audio response, all those things. And that'll come with time, but you can just pick it up and go, put it on a general or put it on sensitive or fast or relic, whatever you want to do with it. I truly think it's a pick up and go. And I'll tell you about the stock programs, because I've on my Deus 1 have my custom programs, and I'm kind of struggling, like, what am I going to do different to these things? Do I need to do anything different to the stock programs other than changing things that are preferences like full tones and, audio volume, things like that. But I think from what I've seen and from what I've used, the stock programs seem pretty good.
Yeah. Something that I want to bring up is in their menu, the square tones. We were talking about that a little bit. If you are a MindLab user, like say a MindLab Equinox, and you like that tone, or if you are a Nocta Macro Legend user or something and you like those tones, you put it in squared mode, you're going to get the same kind of tones.
Yeah.
Am I
Right.
not correct in that?
You're 100%. And like I said, I used to swing a CTX, so the square tone sounds very much like a MindLab. I do prefer the PWM, which is the traditional Deus sound. It's what I like. It's what I'm used to. And what's interesting is, some people like the pitch program or pitch audio, which I'm personally not a fan of. It sounds like a yapping chihuahua to me in my ears, but I know like one of my detecting buddy absolutely loves it. And you can actually put the pitch on square tone as well to draw that out a little bit and make it sound a little more, fluty or tony. So you've got so many options. And from what I've heard, they're going to continuously update this machine. And I think they're going to come out with even more tone options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a question off Facebook from Tom Becker. He says he has a club member that is trying to decide between the Deus 2 and the Equinox. What would you tell her? Personally, what I would tell her would be go with the Deus.
I mean, that's what I would say. And I got to be candid. I've never really had a lot of time on the Equinox, so I can't really speak to the performance of that machine and how it's good. I've heard some people love it. I've heard there's some construction issues with the shafts and things like that. But I don't think with the Deus 2, I mean, you really can't go wrong. It's so versatile. It is submersible. It's multi-frequency. The construction is top notch. The ergonomics. And it does have a slot that's Deus mono. So if you don't want to run multi-frequency, you can run it as a traditional Deus 1 being on the mono. So you're getting like 10 machines in one in a way.
And it's I mean, I've got a lot of hours on the Equinox, and I would have to say, I would say definitely go with the Deus construction wise. And I haven't seen the Deus 2. I know from experience my Deus 1s, construction wise, it's fantastic. And the weight. And, you're going to be able to hunt all day with it. And then it breaks down much nicer. I would just say if you can afford it, go with the Deus 2. Definitely.
Yeah. And I'll also add changing coils. You can change a coil in about 20 seconds with the Deus machines. It just pops in and pops out. You don't have to worry about unscrewing the coil, getting the wires out, feeding them up a shaft. It's just boom, 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 you're done.
Yeah, and the good thing about the Deus 2, I know there's one question. I think Chuck Martin had that question about the high frequency coil. With the Deus 2, you're not going to need the high frequency coil because you have all the fast multi frequencies.
Right.
There's basically two coils, the 9-inch and the 11-inch right now. And I'm sure they'll probably come out with a 13 and maybe a 9x5 later down the road. But you just don't need all the different coils because you've got that wide range of frequencies.
Right. It goes from 4 to 49, I think, or something like that. And that's a pretty wide range. I would love to see XP come out with a sniper coil, like a 6-inch.
Well, they may. You never know.
Be great.
But Tim, you got some more questions, man?
In your Deus mono, which frequencies are available?
It's the full range. I believe it's the full range of frequencies, and you can pick which one you want within there. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what we did with our Deuses, with the high frequency coils, the different ones, and the X35 coil. It gave you more frequencies to choose from depending on how you wanted to run it. Where with the Deus 2, it does it for you. Correct. Right,
exactly. You don't have to worry about it. It's scanning them all at once, and Yeah, I'm really interested to see. I've been going back as much as I could. Again, it's 9 degrees outside, so the ground's pretty frozen. But I want to go back to properties that I've quote unquote exhausted and hunted out and see,
Hmm.
like, did I miss anything? What else is there?
Right.
Mhm.
You have the RC, the remote control, right there with you, don't you, Grant?
I do, and I'll
See
try to hold it up
that-
to the camera. You
Yeah,
can see.
see, and to me, it just it looks like it's very well made. The thing I've noticed about the Deus, and maybe Tim will back me up on this, the buttons, when you push the button, very reactive.
Yep.
Um, I just, I have a very, very hard time finding any fault. The only thing I didn't like about the Deus One is when you had to put that antenna on it. You
Mhm.
know, if you were going to hunt in the water, you couldn't have the remote control. You had to put it in a waterproof pouch. Then you
Right.
had to have that long antenna. Where this
Right.
one is going to be, and
It-
from what I understand, the Deus Two is just knocks it out of the park on gold chains, doesn't it?
I've heard that. Yeah, I haven't had the luxury of finding one yet myself, but I have heard it's done that because, again, the wide ranges of frequencies. You can go really low and really high at the same time. So, and yeah, I just want to point something out too as I turn the remote on. The first thing you'll see is, where you want your audio to come from, and it's got the different headphones or speaker. One of the tips that Gary Blackwell told me is if you're using the headphones, turn all the other ones down to 0 because that's going to save you battery life. For whatever reason, even if you're not using them, they're going to start going for the battery. So only the one you're using, and then turn all the others down to 0.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, so a lot of people out here may not know, if you want to know about the Deus 2 and see it in action, it's Gary Blackwell, XP Metal Detectors, has got a YouTube channel, and then also it's Garden Soylent is
Mhm.
Gary Blackwell for the Deus and the Deus 2. Now, that's one of the most knowledgeable people on the Deus 2 that you could ever find. And we tried to get him on the show, but he's in the UK, so
Yeah,
that's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, so it's
right,
kind of difficult.
right. It is tough, but yeah, he helped write the manual, so he knows about the machine probably better than anybody else too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So questions, guys?
Yes, I got one.
Sure.
What's your favorite feature on the Deus 2?
I think it's the same as my favorite feature on the Deus One, and it's kind of a simple one, but it's reactivity. I feel like, and for those who don't know what reactivity is, it's the speed at which it's going to pick up a target. So 90% of the properties I hunt are iron infested junky. So I'm cranking up that reactivity to 5 because I want I want it to be super fast. But if I'm out on a field or if I go to the beach, I'm going to turn that down to 2 or 2.5 because it could be a little slower and give it more reaction. And to me, that one setting alone can change the dynamics of how you're using any program, and it's one click of a button. So that is my favorite feature.
Good.
It's probably the fastest recovery on the
Mhm.
market, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Tim. I do. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just, I tell you what, and when you get that tone, you know what you got. And the best thing that I like about it, now there's a number of ORX users out there that don't have this, and the Digging Canuck being one of them. She loves her orcs, but she doesn't have this screen, and she's going to get the Deus too when
Okay.
she gets that XY screen. I tell you what, that XY screen,
It's a
you just
game
don't hardly
changer.
get fooled with that XY screen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love the XY screen. It's great. And I went probably 2 years before I even switched over from the horseshoe to that. I don't know, you get settled into what you like. And then I said, let me just spend a day using it. And I really liked it. So Liz, if you're listening, when you get it, you know how to contact me and ask me all the questions you need.
Yeah, she'll love it. She will love it. And
Mhm.
Randy Goodnow wanted to know how far it extends out for tall people. Well, I've seen a bunch of real tall people using it, and there hasn't been any problem at all with being long enough.
Yep, extends long, and like I was talking about my nephew before, I mean, the Ace 350 I gave him, I could only cut it down so much, and it's still a little big for him. So, but when I put the Deus in his hand, it's fine. I mean, and you could adjust it for, a 10-year-old up to somebody who's, 6'5", 6'6", with no problems.
Well, Grant Diggin Canuck says she's got you on speed dial, so
Okay.
oh, that's good. John, you were some other stuff you wanted to ask, I'm sure.
Does the Deus 2 go deeper than 1?
That's a great question. And for me, the jury will be out when I kind of get some more side-by-side comparisons. I've seen some videos, like Calabash Digger has done some comparing them, and he seems to be pretty honest and has some good test gardens. But I think a lot will depend on the soil conditions you're in, and I wonder if there's going to be certain soil conditions where maybe the mono frequency will be better. I think it's going to take some time to tell. But what I will say is, I think the Deus One was criticized as not being a deep machine, and
I
in
disagree
my
with
in my experience, it went quite deep. And even on the smallest targets, I've dug things out that were, you hear people, 2 feet deep, but at least 12 inches deep on a tiny target that you would think, how did it get that thing? Like a rhinestone or something. So
Well,
I do think it's a deep machine.
yeah, you've always got these guys, Grant, that say, well, I dug this at, 22 inches. Well, first of all, they don't know how to measure,
Right.
Um, so I would disagree with anybody that says the Deus One is not a deep machine. I think Tim agrees with me on that, because we dug some really deep,
Mhm.
deep targets with that machine.
Yeah.
Haven't
Absolutely.
you, Tim?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of
So
them were a lot deeper than I really wanted to dig.
a lot of them were a lot deeper than I wanted to dig,
Yeah.
you know. And it amazes you sometimes, and you have trouble finding the target because it's such a small little target,
Mhm.
and yet you're getting this banging tone, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And for me, people want to know, oh, what coil should I get? Well, I think you can order it with a 9-inch or 11-inch. It depends on what you like. Now, I'm getting mine with both coils.
Mhm.
I kind of really like the 9-inch coil myself. Now, because I'm going to do a lot of beach hunting with it, and to me, a 9-inch coil is the coil for hunting in the water. You
Mhm.
just got to move real slow and double cover your ground. So I think with the 11-inch coil, if you're a larger coil user, you're going to like that. It's not nose heavy at all in any way, shape, or form. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I agree with you. I love the 9-inch. Right now for the Deus 2, I have the 11-inch, but I do have a 9-inch on orders as well. Again, that's better suited for what I detect on mostly, which is those junky home sites. The
mhm.
smaller coil will help me out there. So I'm excited to get that.
Well, let's cover that a little bit. Where to use certain things with some of the programs, because we got a lot of people out there that they hunt different areas. Like Diggin Canuck, she hunts a lot of parks.
Hmm.
But she does have some permissions, open fields. She's got a few permissions like that. I know P&W Dirt Fishing, they hunt a lot on the beach, and then they, got some fields and houses, and a lot of people hunt in different areas. So let's kind of, talk about that with some of the programs and what they should be used for and this type of thing.
Yeah, and I think too, a lot of it will come down to preference, right? But for me, when I'm on a junky home site, right now I'm finding my way to see what I like best. And it's right now between sensitive, fast, and park. What's different is park frequency range only goes up to 24. And the sensitive full tones goes up to, I think, 41 or something like that. But I don't know if I need to go that high of a frequency for a lot of what I'm looking for. I think going up to 24 is probably good enough. So I just need more time to see. But for me, between those two programs and maybe the fast program would be good for iron infested junky sites. If I'm on a farm field, I'm really going to start trying to embrace the relic deep mode because
Mhm.
I've heard good things. I saw Gary Blackwell's video on that, and it's got me intrigued. So I want to mess around with that. But even if you didn't, you can just modify the park program or other any program and slow down the reactivity, maybe up the audio volume so that you're hearing things more. Smaller coil for the more junky areas. Go for the bigger coil if you're on a wide open field or someplace that's not too junky. Again, it's a preference. I'm at the point though that I love the 9-inch so much that I'm using it on the big open fields and I'm using it on the beach. It's just what I like.
Yeah, that's what in England we use the 9-inch.
Mhm.
Um, Tom Becker wanted to know, um, like on the Detect Edge shaft for an Equinox, they've got a hole down there to drain hole.
Mhm.
Now the Deus 2 does not have a little hole to drain the shaft. I think because the way it's constructed, you're not going to get any water in the shaft.
I don't think you are. And here, let me show you. It's kind of don't know what the technical word is, if it's a lock, but it comes in really solid. So I don't know if it's 100% sealed, but if it's not, just pop the coil off and then you could dump whatever it is out, and then put it in. So I don't think you're going to get water in there because it's sealed up pretty tight. But if you do,
Hmm.
it's easy to just plop it off, shake it out. But I mean,
Yeah,
I've hosed this thing down and to clean it because it's been muddy and never got any water inside it.
yeah. And now you can go over the programs, the stock programs.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, so I'll see if I can go by memory. I got my remote here, but the first one, it's general, right? And I think it's a disservice to call it that because I think a lot of people are going to ignore it because they think it's like the basic or whatever. But it's a pretty solid program. And again, I think that one goes up to the 40 frequencies. They don't tell you how low it goes. They're keeping something secret about what frequencies they're using. But you've got your general program, and I believe it's got like a 3-tone setup. I might be wrong, but I'm just again going on memory. But again, if you're going to just turn on and go, that's a really good one to do. And then you got sensitive and insensitive full tones. They're essentially the same program, except one uses full tones and one just uses regular. I will say, people have asked me, like, how can I set up the hot program on the Deus 2? Sensitive full tones is the hot program. So just, something to know about that. And then there's the park program that I talked about, it goes up to the 24 frequency. And that's also got, well, you can do this for most of the programs, but it's got by default the bottle cap reject. So especially for those parks, those pesky bottle caps, that default setting on there is going to be really helpful to get you so that you're not digging up those things.
on the beach as well.
Yeah. So I'm anxious to see how that's going to perform over time too. Then you've got the relic programs. You can do the pitch program. They've also got the beach and diving programs. Beach is good for that wet sand that usually single frequencies have an issue on. And it's got beach. I think it's beach sensitive or beach high frequency. So that'll change it so that we were talking about the gold chains before. It'll be more sensitive to the smaller targets. The
Hmm.
diving is made for when you're submersed and it locks the keypad so you don't accidentally hit the wrong buttons while you're underwater. Now the thing is, once it's on diving mode, you'll see 3 locks across the top, so you can't use the keypad. And this might mess a lot of people up if they're on dry land and they're just messing around. All of a sudden they got these locks and they can't do anything. So you just have to hit boom, 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 1, 2, 3 right in a row to unlock it, and then you're back to where you go.
Hmm.
So
There was let's see, let me scroll back here. I know there was somebody had a question. It was about the battery, and the battery is in the coil,
mhm.
and not in the shaft.
Right.
And then somebody wanted to know, Gene Martin, for instance, he wanted to know, is the 2 as chatty as the 1? Well, I never found the 1 really to be chatty. It depends on how you read the information that you're getting. Um, all that to me is information, ground information. Would you agree with that, Tim?
Oh, absolutely. I've never had a problem with my Deus being chatty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's something that you can't stand, you can always adjust it.
Mm-hmm. But you get a lot of good information.
Absolutely. That's the basic
about
thing.
the surrounding ground and stuff, So a lot of people that have come from other detectors I can understand where they would think that is chatty. But like Tim said, it's completely adjustable.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do that,
Right, for sure.
Okay, I think that was the question.
We have a question from Pink Power Alley. She wants to know, what's the depth in the water? How deep can you dive with it?
I think it goes up to 30 meters. I would 20 or 30 meters, or is it 10 meters? I think it's 10 meters, maybe 30 feet. I'd have to reference the manual. I apologize.
I thought it was like 60 feet.
Yeah. 20 meters.
20 meters.
Feet?
Yeah. 66 feet.
Deep enough for me.
Yeah.
That'd be deep enough for me too.
That's 55 feet deeper than I want to go.
Right.
Yeah. And then you've got where you can adjust the for the salt factor too, don't you?
Yep. You can have salt sensitivity as well, so you can notch that up or down. Yeah. And just back to the battery. The battery life is so much better than the Deus 1. I believe it gets up to like 12 or 15 hours of battery life.
Whereas I never, even all the time we were in England, I charged it every night, but I never had the first problem with running out of juice on the coils or the battery.
Mm-hmm. No, we were in the field at least 12 hours a day, and when I got home, I still had 2 bars.
Yeah. So
it'll burn down faster on a chatty property, iron infested, a lot of junk, because it's using a lot more. But yeah, if you're on a standard farm field, it'll last you all day.
And I think Pink Power Alley also asked about, are they coming out with a new pinpointer, even though the MI6 rocks? Well, the MI6 is compatible with the Deus 2.
It is. So I haven't heard anything about new pinpointers, but the MI6 is compatible. I've already hooked mine up, so it works fine. The coils for the Deus 1, so the X35 and the HF coils, are not compatible with the Deus 2. But the MI6,
neither are the headphones.
Correct. Neither are the headphones, right? So the only thing is the MI6.
Well, that MI6 rocks, let me tell you.
It's awesome. And one of the coolest features is its recovery mode. So if we've all forgot to put that pinpointer back in the sheath, and you just hit the remote and find it, and it just starts beeping and you can find it.
We never lose a pin.
That's why everybody needs a Dan's lanyard.
Yeah, right.
For that pinpointer. But I tell you what, that is such a good feature with that MI6 pinpointer, where it goes right through your headphones. On the Deus 1, it shuts the coil off.
Yeah.
And then goes through your headphones. So that is such a killer feature, because constantly headphones off, on. It's a big pain.
There's no lag time.
Right.
It's immediate.
Right.
No.
Yeah, it's helpful for me too, because a lot of times I'm out at 6 in the morning, when the sun's coming up, and I'm on a small home site or a property. I don't want to be loud. I don't want to wake anybody up. So the fact that the pinpointer and the detector coil are going through my earphones, nobody has to hear anything.
Yeah. Now, Randy Goodnow asked about, the Deus 2 on the black sand. Well, I think it's got a mode in there to help you on the black sand as well.
It does. It's got the different modes for beach settings that you can really adjust it to your different specifications. Again, I haven't had a chance to get out there. The New Jersey beaches are pretty notorious for being, a challenging sand. So as soon as it gets a little warmer I'm gonna take a drive. It's about an hour and a half. Get down there, try all the different settings. But from what I've seen from other videos and from what I've read in the manual, it seems pretty versatile. So just like how you can adjust it on land to suit your preferences, you can do the same thing for wet sand.
And I think for Randy, he's in California, and they have some notoriously black sand out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So Randy, you best get one.
Yeah. I'm also going to be interested to hear how it performs in areas like Culpeper, the red clay that's notoriously difficult and you need a PI machine so I'm anxious for someone down there to try it out.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. Wouldn't that just be killer if it would just work like a champ in Culpeper?
Yeah.
That would be great. On the surf, it works great in the surf, I think. I mean, a lot of times with other detectors, when you get the surf watch, you get the wash, you get some falsing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't think they addressed that.
They do address it. And, whether it's the beach settings or when you're doing like a ground grab and equalizer, it's going to try to reject all that ground noise. So like for the Deus 1, for instance, if you're in a corn stalk and you're hitting the coil, and if it's giving you those false tones, you just bump the ground balance up a couple and that should eliminate it. So that the way the Deus 2 is set up with the settings, you don't have to do that. It's going to take care of it for you.
Yeah, and I think that's the wonderful thing about the Deus. It's so easy to customize any of the programs.
Right.
Adjust it here. You may like a little faster reactivity. Bing, bing, a couple bumps on the button and you got your different reactivity, or change in frequencies, or just a myriad of things. It's just so customizable.
Right.
And I think the Deus 2 is even more so with the different ways you can have the tones. I mean, you can have full tones, one, single tone, 2, 3, 4, 5 tone, pitch mode, squared tones. So if you can't find something you like with that, I don't think there's nothing to find anywhere.
Right. Yeah. And one piece of advice I would give is, play around with the different settings, find what you like, but settle on some things. Don't be out in a field or on a property and say, oh, am I running it right this way? Am I doing it that? You're going to drive yourself crazy because you have so many different capabilities. They're all good. Find your preference, and certain things will work for certain properties, but for the most part, don't drive yourself crazy with that.
Yeah, the people get out there, they're swinging and say, well, I'm not getting any signals. I better do start adjusting. Well, you might be getting signals because there's nothing there to get.
Right.
And I agree with that. Give it some time and just work it. Yeah. And another thing about the Deus, I know in the Deus 1, and I'm certain that the Deus 2, because they're built the same way, I have never seen any coil ears break on a Deus 2.
I have not either. No, me either.
So you got some more questions, I think, don't you, John?
I was going to save my last one for the end. But since the Deus 2 is taken off, are you going to have a fire sale on Deus 1?
I think you'll see a lot of private sales on the Deus 1 so that they can go ahead and buy the Deus 2. So it might be a good time. Yeah.
I know. I was saving it for last, but that'll work for now.
I know you got a couple more questions, Tim.
I had a question from Detect Dig Smile that says, can you talk about the EMI on the Deus 2?
Yeah, I haven't gotten much when I've been out. And you can do a frequency, you can shift frequencies to try to get it. If you're getting interference, you can change it to battle that. But what you can also do is it's got an auto frequency find feature. So it's going to find the least chattery frequency for you. So you don't have to mess around. So they have addressed that a bit. To be honest, I never got much interference with the Deus 1 either, unless I was under like a really, really bad, electrical wires or anything like that. But I think it's a pretty stable machine.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
we
so.
didn't have any trouble in England at all when we were hunting right under some wires a lot
Yeah.
of the time, weren't we, Tim?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, and something that was very interesting. If you want to see something about that, go back to the Skill School with Gary Blackwell. He does a whole video on that. You can find where the EMI is at just by with a certain program in the Deus.
Yep.
I just can't say enough about it.
Yeah. And yeah, I recommend watching all of Gary's videos. He's only begun. He's got so many more to do on the Deus too, and he'll do probably one on every single feature. So it's a great library to have.
And very articulate, explains things very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what else you got, Tim?
Where was I at? I had a question from was it Digging Creek? I can't find it now. Anyway, he wanted to know about are there any coil options available?
Yeah, the 11-inch and the 9-inch only right now. I don't know if there's plans for others, but it's just the difference in size. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll come out. It was just like with the Deus one, you had the coils, and then they come out with the HF coils, and then they come out with the X35 coil.
Mm-hmm.
So it gave you more and more options. And then with the updates, and let's talk about that. The Deus 2, it's very, very easy to update that too, isn't it?
It is. It's you have to have a PC. If you have a Mac, you'll need a PC emulator. But you pretty much just plug it into your USB port. It's going to recognize it. You have to download the software from the XP site, and then it just walks you through the different things to do. It's really straightforward, and I believe Gary has a video on how to do that as well. Now, what's interesting is we're already at version 6. And the Deus 1 maxed out so far at 5.2. But I've heard they're going to continue to update that as well. But, they were just doing new versions as it was testing, and they were getting feedback and things like that. But so I'm excited to see what other updates are coming. And it is easy. I will say, just to warn everybody, if you have a custom program or custom programs in that, when you update them, they will be erased. So make sure you write down your settings so that you can put them back in.
Okay, we do have a question from Drum Detect. He says if he orders it with the bone phones, does he need to buy a cushion pair for land hunting? And he said he doesn't want to have the bone phones in the summertime because of the heat. Well, I think you kind of got that backwards a little bit. Bone phones are going to be very, very cool in the summer heat. A cushioned earphone is going to be a lot hotter than the bone phones, because the bone phones, there's really the only part of it fits you right up in here.
Right.
And that's because it hits there's a bone right in there. That's where you get the tones through your ears. So there's going to be a lot cooler with the bone phones than it would with a full headphone. But they'll have like the WS6s, which are kind of like the WS4s, and then they'll have the full headphone. That's the
WS6,
yeah, and then the full headphones. That's I forget which one the number is on that, but there will have a full range of headphones. So, but I think you'll find that bone phone is the way to go.
Yeah, the WS6s, I mean, just like the WS4s, they weren't warm to me because they're not full coverage. They're fine. It's just the difference is, do you want to be tethered? Do you want to have that wire that the bone conductor is going to have, or do you want wireless? Again, it's a preference thing, right?
Yeah, exactly right. You got any more questions, Tammy?
Sure. Can you speak to the ease of changing coils and pairing?
Yeah, so it's really, really simple. So as I was showing you before, to change the coil physically, You take the machine, you pop one off, you pop the next one on. So now it's on there. And then you just have to go into the remote and select the coil. So assuming you've already put the coil into your remote, you just go into your settings to coils and switch from coil 1 to coil 2 or coil 3, whichever one you want. So I think full time, I think I've done it once in 20 seconds. So
It's easy.
yeah.
Yeah, and people say, well, how do I remember about them? Well, they've got a serial number on it.
Yeah.
And when you enter it in to your RC, if you added a coil, then it's always got I think the last 2 digits of that serial number that tell you which coil it is.
Yeah.
So, it's really easy. I mean, zoom, zoom, zoom.
Right.
And pop, pop, and then you're good.
Yeah.
And if you're wearing the headphones and using the remote control, once you change it in the RC, it automatically changes it in your headphones as well.
Yeah, which is great.
I tell you what, I just can't wait. I'm like a kid in a dang candy store.
I'm excited for you. I can't wait for you to get it either.
I dream about it. So.
Oh, I know. And there's a bunch of people that are waiting for it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the chat. Digging Canucks telling the Mermaid Treasure Hunter a zillion times faster than Bluetooth. Well, she loves the ORX, and she has found a tremendous amount of stuff with the ORX.
Yeah, it's a great machine. I mean, the ORX, it's the same engine as the Deus. It just has slightly less features on the remote.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's essentially the same machine.
Yeah, it doesn't have as many programs and features. So, Liz, you're not going to have any problem migrating over to the Deus 2. You are going to absolutely love it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So, John, have you come up with any more questions?
No, I've been thinking though, and every time I get close, y'all got a better one than I got. I'm still trying to learn it, and watching those videos until my eyeballs cross.
Yeah. One suggestion I have for anyone who's new to a Deus 1, Deus 2, just do some air tests with like clad coins, some silver coins, just so you know what a good target should sound like, right? Ground conditions mess things up and things like that, but like it's important to know, this is what a pure nickel would be, or this is what a pure quarter or silver dime. To me, that's super, super helpful, because then when you're digging live, you'll know what you're hearing. And with the Deus, let's compare it to, say, the Ace 350. When I started, I was either getting a high tone or mid tone or a low tone, but there was no iron grunts. It wasn't telling me if it was next to something, really. So the Deus, depending on how you set the tones up, you can really, it's almost like having a conversation. It's trying to tell you what's in the ground. Is there a squeak of iron? Is it next to something? And you just have to learn that. And the only way to do it is to get out there and dig and dig everything and understand what it is. But I do think those air tests in the beginning are very helpful.
And the thing I've noticed about the Deus is the VDI numbers, and there's a lot of people out there that are strictly VDI number hunters. I personally am more of a tone hunter. But the VDI numbers are really accurate with the Deus, and on the XY screen. I agree, Grant. They need to do some tests with that, because that XY screen is so sensitive. It shows you that it's a non-ferrous target. It can be just like, let's say, a clad quarter, except there's just a little squiggly on the end of it. And so that could be something else too.
Right.
So, it just takes a little bit of time. But that is just a extremely accurate detector. And I love the feature about the bottle caps.
Yeah, I think that's going to help a lot of people. I'm always paranoid about notching things out. Like, oh, what if it's a really old pewter button, or even like you were saying, it's got that little squiggle. Like I think about, oh, what if it's a buckle and it just has an iron, shank in it, So I'm prone to digging more just because sometimes you do get surprised. But if you're just in a spot, you don't have a lot of time, you can be kind of discriminative about how you're digging, then those features are definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, I think they're just extremely worthwhile.
Right.
So, it just takes a little bit of time, but I think that your fines will go up, your
Mhm.
good fines, and with the wide variety of tones that the Deus 2 will offer, um, after a little while, you're gonna know what's underneath your coil. I do
Right.
believe. Would
Right.
you agree with that, Tim?
Absolutely.
And John likes to use my Deus 1, so he's used it a couple times.
Yeah.
So what do you got to say, John?
Bring it.
Oh yeah, we'll do that. As soon as the Deus 2 comes in, I'm going to get a little hunt up here for you and the Mumbles man. So
All right, that'll work.
we'll be 2 Deus 2s and a Deus 1.
That'll work.
Yeah. I'll be interested to hear how you make out in the water with it. Candidly, I've only tried at the Jersey beach to go fully submersed in the ocean, and the waves just beat me up. I said, forget this. I'm going back to the sand. So I give you credit for getting in the water.
Well, see, it's a little different for us. We like to hunt in the Gulf.
Hmm.
Now, next week, the show will be coming to you from Daytona Beach, and we'll be down there hunting. But, it's not often that we can get in the water at Daytona Beach.
Mhm.
We may get out knee deep or maybe waist deep and still get beat pretty bad.
Yeah.
Atlantic Ocean is just, the waves are bigger. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And there's times that Tim and I are out in the Gulf, we're out neck deep, and it's 95, 97 degree water, just slick calm.
Flat.
Mhm.
So we don't have that problem.
Yeah.
So we got any more questions from people? So anybody in the chat got a question for Grant or anybody?
Well, Grant, I do appreciate you stopping by tonight. That's for sure. You got me thinking hard.
I appreciate you having me. Yeah. So I don't think you'd be disappointed if you got one.
Especially in the weight of it, John, and the ease of the swing.
Mhm.
Like I said, going from another detector to a Deus takes a little bit of adjustment. I think Tim will agree that because you can swing it too fast because it's so light. But I think that anybody that gives the Deus a chance they're going to fall in love with it.
Mhm. I agree.
And yet you'll be hearing all about it when we get them. We'll be in the water with them because
Mhm.
that's where we like to hunt, isn't it, Timmy?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
In the WS6 puck, that's rainproof, right?
It is not the
No.
WS6. No. So I will put it under my hood if it starts raining. So
Yeah.
that's one thing you have to be careful of. Yeah. So, but the bone conductors,
Oh, that's
obviously,
waterproof,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think the full headphones, they'll be a little bit more water resistant, waterproof.
Hmm.
Rainproof.
Right. Yeah. Not submersible, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I think they pretty much got the, everything covered, and the accessories that Deus has too. Let's just, while we got you here, let's just touch a little bit on that. Tim and I both have the Deus backpack, and that's just a killer backpack.
You can fit so much stuff in that thing.
You can, and the way it fits, because it's got the belts, like you don't really, it's not cumbersome. You don't feel like you're lugging around any weight. It's really well designed. Yeah. So my only worry with it is I think it's like technically 2 inches taller than what is allowed for a carry-on bag.
They
But
never
I
leave.
heard, Pete, they don't give you any issues with it.
No, I never had no issues. I mean, you look at some of the bozos that come on the plane with these, ski packages or whatever.
Right.
You're not going to say nothing about my Deus backpack.
Right.
Big duffel bag.
Right.
Yeah, it went right in the carry-on slick.
Yeah. Perfect.
And I had, like I said, I had my CPAP machine in there. I had a change of clothes in there. I had charging equipment in there. I had 3 coils in there, 2 full Deus machines. I mean, it was packed up.
Yeah.
I did some posts on the Treasure Talk page.
Uh-huh.
I laid everything out on my couch right in here when I was going in that backpack.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it was packed, and nobody could believe it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
you just get all kinds of stuff in there.
I wish someone had filmed it at the time, because the first time I went out to England, I think it was like 2013 or whatever, and I had my CTX in the suitcase. When I got to the airport, my suitcase was 4 pounds over, and they wanted to charge me another $75. So I said, forget this. So I opened the suitcase. I got on the plane wearing my muck boots, my weatherproof gear. Like I just put all the clothes I had on and just wore them on the plane to make my suitcase lighter. And then I just took them off and put them in the over.
Yeah, that would have been fun to see.
Yeah, that would have been.
I was sweating like crazy.
I bet.
Yeah. Well, maybe they brought you a drink real quick.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think we've it's hard to believe we've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes already.
Wow.
The time flies.
Time flies.
I think we covered quite a bit tonight. Anybody out there that's watching, do you have any more questions? Because while we got Grant, let's get them answered.
We want you to come back after the machine gets here. We have plenty.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll get it scheduled.
Happy to.
We will get it scheduled. So we want to thank everybody for watching tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope it was an informative time for you tonight. I can't thank Grant enough for being with us tonight. He's always a joy, and Mumbles Man, and Plays in the Dirt, John David. I love you guys. You're my besties. So I thank you for being with me tonight, and let's say putting Grant's feet to the fire here a little bit. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and thanks everybody for showing up. Because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do this, and we have fun doing this.
Yes, we do.
So next week we're going to have on Treasure Tales, the Diggin' Canuck is going to co-host with me that night. I'm going to have Casey Dittman from Excalibur Shovels talking about the magic of Merlin. And that's his new travel shovel. And Grant, if you haven't got one of those, you better tune in, son. You need to get one.
All right, I'll check it out.
Shovels make the best shovels on the planet. And this one is revolutionary. It is killer. So join us next week on Thursday night for Treasure Tales. Now, Monday night on Treasure Talk, Phil and I are going to talk with Trevor Ferrarasso, which is going to be an update on the Coil Tech product for the Mine Labs. And we're going to talk about that because I think they're pretty much now the flow is happening and Phil's able to get them. There again, Myers has stuff in stock, always in stock. So we're going to cover that Monday night on Treasure Talk, Thursday night, Excalibur Shovels, and we'll be coming at you from the beach in Daytona, and hopefully we're going to have a really good time down there. So I want to thank everybody for stopping in tonight and spending some time with us. We always appreciate it. And there's one thing we always want to say, treasure stories, there's a million of them out there. Every one of them is important. Every one of them is unique. And everyone makes a difference. And we want to hear your treasure stories on Treasure Tales. So thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Grant, thank you. Tim, thanks. John, thanks.
Thank you.
Always a
And
pleasure.
everybody, see you
Thanks,
guys
Grant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grant.
next week.
All right.
Happy hunting.
Mhm.